tonight's big stories. Volcanic has raised the alert level in Mayon volcano from 2 to 3, signifying increased tendency towards a hazardous eruption. LGUs near the volcano are now readying for possible evacuation of residents. We'll get an update later on Mayon's situation with Volcanic's Director Teresito Bacolcol.
The legal battle begins over the rights to eat Bulaga. Can Tito, Vic, and Joey bring name over to TV5? Or does it stay with Tape Incorporated? A legal expert weighs in.
And Health Secretary Ted Herbosa eyes hiring fresh nursing graduates to address the shortage of nurses in the government, even those who have not taken the nursing boards.
Welcome to the big story. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Sean Yao. All right, so just a few days ago,
This whole week, every single day, we've had a volcano story, which, you know what, I was going to say is a bit worrisome kasi I don't quite understand the science behind it, but they're all connected, aren't they?
they are actually not all connected. I am saying this because I have spoken to a Volcanic's director, Katoto, a few days ago, and I was also freaked out as much as I think everyone. And
Parang
I said,
sa earthquake na magkakadikit, ano?
Hindi ba magkakadikit yun?
Hindi daw. So each volcano, we should treat it as an isolated kumbaga, incident or isolated case, right?
But we are watching over 2 to 3 volcanoes.
Yeah.
But the most worrisome would be Taal and Mayon.
But I think because of the escalation of the alert level of Mayon to 3, then it has taken over Taal as the most worrisome, at least at this point.
But also, I was watching Frontline Pilipinas earlier. They were just reporting that volcano in Hawaii, Kilauea,
Yes, Mount
is
Kilauea.
also
Medyo malayo na
showing
yun,
a lot.
Reg.
Malayo!
Pero
you never
Pacific
know.
Rim, ha?
Ayun, that's the
Sabagay,
explanation.
Ring of fire.
All right, but just a few days ago, as I said, we were talking about Mayon volcano remaining under alert level 2, but now Volcanic's has raised it to alert level 3 due to potential explosive activity happening within days or weeks.
We do remember that when it's level 3, that means people are forced to evacuate.
Correct.
And officials and authorities are now preparing for that, the evacuation of residents near the area amid the threat of ashfall.
But again, how did it lead up to this? Earlier this morning, officials were already keeping watch on the Mayon volcano. Smoke was emanating from its crater, but it was not that thick yet. After a while, though, thick smoke could be seen rising up, accompanied by large chunks of rocks. This was the situation for several hours until the volcano was almost enveloped in smoke. Because of this, Volcanic's has raised Mayon's alert level to 3, meaning it is currently at an increased tendency toward a hazardous eruption.
Sa ngayon po, mas increased yung chances na magkaroon ng isang explosion. It can still go either way, na pwedeng yun nga magtuloy-tuloy or ito nga hanggang ganyan lang siya.
The public has since been advised to stay alert for possible more frequent tremors and to be cautious of rockfall. Due to the threat posed by Mayon, the Albay LGU is now considering the possibility of declaring the province under a state of calamity. Currently, since it is at alert level 3, as Gretchen has said, residents within the 6-kilometer radius permanent danger zone are being prepared to evacuate.
Maraming mga medyo malitigas ng ulo, hindi naman natin sila masisisi dahil may livelihood silang have to protect. Ang importante, pumunta na sila sa evacuation center.
Now here to give us the latest on Mayon volcano's activity, we have with us live via Zoom, Volcanic's Director Teresito Bacolcol. Good evening, Katoto. Thank you for joining us on the big story tonight. My first question to you is, diba, within the next few days or weeks, that's the potential, we're expecting potentially explosive activity from Mayon volcano. What are you seeing? What is the forecast at the moment?
We are actually waiting for the following parameters before we can raise the alert level from alert level 3 that the volcano is right now to alert level 4. So we are waiting for an increase in sulfur dioxide. This would imply that new magma is intruding to the shallower part of the edifice. And we are also looking at increase in the mass flux as evidenced by longer lava flows, frequent PDCs or pyroclastic density currents, which we had this morning and this afternoon, and lava fountaining. And then we are also waiting for an increase in the seismicity, as well as the inflation of the edifice, and of course minor explosions. So these are the things that we are waiting, and before we can raise the alert level to alert level 4 from its current alert level 3.
Alright, Katoto, pag naging, in the event na maging alert level 4 na nga itong si Mayon Volcano, anong magyayari dyan? Lalaki po ba itong 6-kilometer permanent danger zone radius? And will the ashfall potentially reach other parts of the country, including here in the NCR?
When we say alert level 4, the permanent danger zone may be extended up to 8 kilometers or more in the sector where the crater rim is low. So it can be extended up to 8 kilometers.
Well, Sir Teresito, take us back to science class. Medyo nakalimutan na po namin. No? Sa ganitong lagay, is an eruption already a certainty given that we're already seeing a faint glow at the crater? Sigurado po ba yan? Nalalabas yan? And is there a chance that the activity over in Mayon lessens or weakens?
Okay, we are actually looking at two scenarios. The 2018 scenario in which the rockfall activity progressed into a magmatic eruption, which would include lava flows, lava fountaining, and sporadic explosions. Or we are also looking at the 2014 scenario in which the rockfall activity progressed into very slow rate dome extrusion and a short lava flow, and then it stopped. It was relatively a quiet eruption. So either way, it could go to the 2018 scenario or the 2014 scenario, but we're hoping for the 2014 scenario.
And then just very quickly, Katoto, can you put that into context for us? When was the last time you saw this much activity from Mayon?
2018, there was 2018 was the last eruption of Mount Mayon, and it was a magmatic eruption.
All right, Katoto, I just want to ask this. This has nothing to do with the Mayon, but everything to do with the Taal volcano, which has also been showing signs of unrest. Currently, I think it has been emitting sulfur dioxide, and the emissions are a bit erratic. So 9,000 on Monday, 5,000 today, 5,000 on the other days. Of course, we still remember Taal right before the COVID-19 lockdowns. It did erupt and spewed ash. It reached us here in Metro Manila. Is this another possibility? I think there was another volcanologist who said that Taal is also exhibiting some new features or some new things that it had not done before. Can you just clarify that for us?
Okay, Taal yesterday emitted steams 2,400 meters high, and the sulfur dioxide emission averaged around 5,718 per day. And in fact, there was a widespread VAG, the volcanic smog, observed over the Taal caldera. And again, we're constantly monitoring Taal. Hopefully, the sulfur dioxide emission would lessen in the next few days. But again, there's always this possibility that it could go higher than what we are seeing now.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us, PHIVOLCS Director Teresito Bacolcol.
Punta naman tayo sa politika. Ito nga yung pinag-uusapan natin kahapon. Si
May
VP
eruption
Sara.
din.
Yes.
Kakaibang eruption at explosion.
Nag-issue siya ng statement saying that House Speaker Martin Romualdez had nothing to do with her vice presidential run. But, just trying to picture, saan ba nagsimula to ulit? It was the demotion of former President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. Pero ngayon naging away na ni Sara Duterte at saka ni Martin Romualdez. And I remember sinabi rin niya yung tambaloslos at saka
tapos
her refusal.
picture pa, di ba? May video sila sa TikTok or Instagram stories ni Senator Amy right after that. Tapos may photo pa doon sa birthday lunch hosted by MVP na magkakasama of course, si VP Sara at si Congresswoman Arroyo. Ngayon, nakakatuwa lang kasi parang pangalawang beses na to na, that Sara Duterte actually went head-to-head with the House Speaker. And we don't know where this will end.
At the same time, she they're quite how do I say this? They're quite subtle about it. None of them have actually called each other by name. I just wanted to
May
point that out.
insinuations lamang.
Like for
Tama,
instance,
that's right.
VP Sara,
Oo.
when she put out that statement saying that Martin Romualdez had nothing to do with her decision to run for the VP position, I mean, it wasn't a direct address to him. Do you know what I mean? So parang all of
She just
But then
cited
again,
she just
tsaka
cited
naalala mo
political
yung-
toxicity
Yeah.
Yes,
when she
correct.
resigned
In her
from
Instagram
Malakas
post.
CMD.
Yes.
Yeah, pero remember, right before the statement came out, she was at an event, yung naka-orange siya na parang Filipiniana. And she, on purpose, did not read the middle name of
That's right.
President
Isa pa
Bongbong
yun.
Marcos.
some
Isa
of the
pa yun.
media picked up
Oo.
on, correct?
Yeah. Actually,
Yes.
you didn't need to pick up on it because she, you picked up on it, but you didn't say anything. And then she actually said it in her own words. Sabi niya, hindi ko binasa yung
So
middle
may
name.
parang may meaning.
Oo.
Kaya naman sinasabi ni Congressman Barzaga, he's praising House Speaker Martin Romualdez for remaining on high ground despite all of
For not
the
addressing the
insinuations.
controversy.
That's right. But despite all this, Vice President Sara insists that she remains supportive of the Marcos administration. Wag assuming, di ba? Meanwhile, nag-Throwback Thursday naman ang ibang political observers on social media. They were able to find this video of VP Sara's speech during House Speaker Martin's oath-taking in Tacloban last year. And it seems to give us a glimpse of how their relationship was back then, just after the elections. Let's listen in.
Like to personally publicly thank Congressman Martin Romualdez for taking me in Lakas CMD and accepting the challenge to be my my two campaign managers during the last election. It was not without irritations and challenges, but you did very well.
Quite a throwback there from VP Sara. But let's get some more details on this from our House correspondent, Marian Enriquez. How did this video surface, actually?
Well, Reg, we reported about VP Sara's statement last night, and almost immediately, my social media feed received a couple of reactions, including these throwback videos. Some social media users believe that it runs counter to VP Sara's statement and that Lakas CMD had a part in her decision-making to run for VP. Meanwhile, we have yet to actually hear from Speaker Romualdez about these statements from VP Sara Duterte. The closest we have come across is a press release from his office about the World Bank forecast on the Philippine economy. He said that Congress will not allow any distraction to derail efforts in finding solutions to the problems affecting Filipinos' daily lives. As for VP Sara, she was seen with Senator Amy Marcos at an event in Manila yesterday. In a separate event, Senator Amy also confirmed that she did convince Sara to run for vice president. Reg.
Thanks so much for all that context. That was News 5's Marian Enriquez. And now that the rainy season is here, the public is advised to be more careful to avoid getting typhoid fever. Since January, over 7,000 cases have been reported by the health department. That's 24% higher than the over 2,000 cases recorded in the same period last year. Typhoid is an infection caused by the bacterium Salmonella typhi, and it is usually spread through contaminated food or water. Typhoid cases typically rise during the rainy days due to, again, contaminated rainwater. Symptoms of typhoid include fever, vomiting, stomachache, and diarrhea. So how can we avoid this infection? Here's some advice from the DOH.
Pagkakaroon ng ganitong mga sakit ay napakasimple at pare-pareho lang. Safe water, ensure na ang ating pagkain ay malinis at ligtas, at pag-practice ng universal precautions tulad ng paghuhugas ng kamay.
Alright, and we're one day from the weekend, so oras na para pag-usapan natin ang lagay ng panahon. Si Chedeng is now a typhoon at nasa dagat pa rin ito, moving northwest across the Philippine Sea. Chedeng will remain far from the Philippine landmass, but again, it could still enhance the southwest monsoon or habagat. Pag-asa says the typhoon will move slowly until Saturday before accelerating on its way out of the PAR. Chedeng is forecast to exit the PAR on Monday.
Up next, we'll learn some of newly minted Health Secretary Ted Herbosa's plans for the agency. Among them, possibly hiring fresh nursing graduates for government posts. That and more when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching the big story here on One News. New Health Secretary Ted Herbosa wants nursing graduates to be employed in government hospitals even before taking their board exams. The Health Department notes that currently there are about 4,000 vacant nursing positions in government. Herbosa wants to fill this up with fresh grads, saying that they can work up to 5 years before taking the board exam. And when they pass, Herbosa says they will be hired in an actual item. He added that he has already discussed this with the Professional Regulation Commission.
Gawin naman natin yung mga may diploma, makatrabaho na sa gobyerno. And then I'll give them 3 to 5 years to pass their board exam. And then I can hire them as an actual item.
So ganun nakalaki yung kakulangan natin sa nurses, no? Na
Pero
even
may
if-
nagrereklamo naman na parang bakit daw hindi mag-focus dun sa unemployed na already took their board exams. But
Magandang
also,
point rin yun.
Oo, nung
Galing yun sa nursing group yata yung. sa
Tama.
parang
Noong 2022 though, the DMW also called for an easing of the cap on nursing graduates that are going abroad. That was set by the DOLE. So parang medyo ano yun who do we prioritize now? I mean,
Right.
kung medyo mababa yung sweldo ng mga newly entrants into the industry, how do we then encourage them to stay here in the Philippines?
Right.
Diba? Arguing against that, bakit nga ba tayo nagpo-focus dun sa mga
tama. I
nursing
think
graduates?
Bottom line, no, it's not actually kung whether or not they can find jobs here, but yung compensation.
That's true.
Maybe
That's
that is the crux of the issue. It's because they can't
Provide.
raise the salary too much. So this is as much as they can afford. So mga nursing
But
grads,
there are
new
also
grads pa rin.
concerns on the quality of healthcare that they will get from
So paano yun?
fresh
Diba?
grads.
Parang puro fresh grads doon? Or parang yung bisorba nila lang yung pumasa pa lang sa board? So we don't know yet, again, the finer points of this. But I guess we'll find out in the coming days.
Well, Secretary Herbosa also shared some of his plans as the new health secretary. JC Cosico tells us what these are.
Reg, aside from health workers' issues, Herbosa intends to push for the agency's digitalization. He said that this is to expedite processes and prevent anomalies. The department also plans to secure a larger supply of bivalent COVID-19 vaccines. Meanwhile, former health officer in charge Maria Rosario Vergere will be heading a team of USECs that will oversee the agency's operations. Reg.
Thanks so much for that, JC Cosico.
Meanwhile, the Land Transportation Department is currently battling one of its old foes, fixers. According to LTO OIC Hector Villacorta, there has been an increase in fixers since the agency implemented its e-governance system. He says it's because many drivers and applicants are still not computer literate. To stop the proliferation of fixers, Villacorta declared that the agency will resort to hybrid operations.
Nung ini-governance namin, yung computerized, lalo nagka-fixer, sir. Dahil yung karamihan na nag-apply na driver, hindi computer literate. So lalong lumalapit doon sa mga, computer, kami ang bahala, 2,000. So we have to hybrid siguro. Maybe we just need to extend public assistance so they don't have to go through the fixers.
But fixers aren't LTO's only problem. At the same Senate hearing, Villacorta was also asked what his plans are regarding the shortage of licenses and plates. Mayon Los Baños has the details.
Yes, Reg, ASEC Villacorta said that the LTO will be back to normal by the end of the year. He mentioned that the agency is going to make an emergency purchase through NEDA to clear their backlog of around 5 million license cards. He said they're looking to purchase the cards within 2 months. Reg?
Thank you so much for that update, May and Los Baños. Even though it wasn't great news, 6 months away before we could get our licenses again.
E-governance, parang masosolve na yung problema ng fixers.
Well,
Hindi
remember,
pala,
they've only just launched the e-governance site.
It's good to look at literacy. Right?
Yes, always.
Meanwhile, Canada has added 13 countries, including the Philippines, to its expanded visa-free travel program. Good news? Instead of a visa, eligible citizens from the Philippines can now apply for an electronic travel authorization, or ETA. To qualify, one should have had a Canadian visa in the last 10 years or a valid non-immigrant U.S. visa. It also only applies to those who arrive in Canada by air. This makes it easier for travelers to go to Canada for up to 6 months for either business or leisure. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly said the expansion of the ETA program is part of their Indo-Pacific strategy to build people-to-people ties.
After the break, much confusion over who gets to use the Eat Bulaga name. We'll discuss the ownership issues following TVJ and the Dabarkad's transfer to TV5. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. What else do we have tonight, girls?
So it's not just us who are super excited, guys. Netizens are also pumped to see the Dabarkads soon back on television. The hashtag EatBulagaTV5 became one of the top trending topics on Twitter Philippines as fans celebrated the good news. One netizen joked about finally being able to open their TV sets at noontime with the return of TVJ. Many also expect TV5 to benefit greatly from ad revenues as they start airing the country's longest-running noontime show. Some GMA artists have also expressed their excitement on the other Eat Bulaga hosts transferring to TV5. That was the case for Maine Mendoza, who posted a video of the TVJ letter turning to TV5. Actress and former Eat Bulaga host Maha Salvador also tweeted about the news with a caption, "Legit Dabarkads." And speaking of former hosts, Tito Soto has said that they plan to bring back talents who were previously let go of, which includes Salvador. Soto is also confident that the TVJ group can find and harvest new talents.
We have planned to harvest new talents. At saka yung mag-guide namin. We've done it before. We've done it so many times. Andiyan sila Redford White, andiyan sila, di ba, ang dami namin, sila Richie, ang dami namin nakitang ibang mga talents. So many young talents. Now, lalo na mas maraming young talents. And we could probably hone them and teach them the ropes.
Following the transfer of TVJ to TV5, big question has been on everyone's mind, which is what happens to the Eat Bulaga name, right? It's a legitimate intellectual property
question. I was having
question.
lunch with my brother, who is a lawyer. Okay. Tinanong ko sa kanya, paano yun? Kasi
paano ba talaga?
Alam ko sa IP, kailangan nakaregister ka under the specific category. So sinasabi doon, merchandise ang nakaregister sa tape. Doon sa Eat Bulaga, ay sa TVJ naman, they registered it February of this year under television shows. Yeah. Pero pwede para i-contest yun under a well-known clause. Ibig sabihin, if it's already well-known to everybody...
Kung sobrang halata naman, obvious naman.
Or alam na ng mga tao for the longest time, hindi na kailangan.
I think this is one of those cases where lawyers can argue it both ways.
That's true.
Right?
Pero sabi ko, so paano yun? Hindi pwedeng gamitin nila TVJ dito. Ang sabi niya, hindi, kailangan na gamitin nila para magkagulo, para ma-resolve.
Yun ang
non-legal
advice.
Exactly. So again, this is gonna come down to who hires the better lawyer, I think. Anyways, he maintained the TVJ were its creators, meaning they own the title in line with supreme jurisprudence. Soto also pointed out that tape's trademark registration with the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines will expire by June 14 next week. He said tape registered Eat Bulaga in bad faith, but they intend to keep the name by filing a claim before the World Intellectual Property Office.
Wow. Parang the Hague
Been elevated.
Meanwhile, according to attorney Enrique de la Cruz of Divina Law, Eat Bulaga was registered under the merchandise classification, as Gretchen was saying, and not under entertainment services. This means that in order for TVJ to still be able to use the name Eat Bulaga, they will have to apply for registration under entertainment services.
Hindi pa na-approve?
Exactly, hindi pa na-file even. De La Cruz added that the segments in Eat Bulaga can still be used by TVJ, especially since Tape Incorporated is not involved in this matter.
Sa ilalim po ng ating batas, Section 151.1 ng ating Intellectual Property Code, kahit na ikaw ang nagparehistro ng trademark, pwedeng ipakansila yan. Kung nagkaroon ng bad faith sa pagpaparehistro o kung ikaw ay fraudulent ang iyong pagkakarehistro. Yung definition ng bad faith, nagparehistro ka ng isang bagay sa iyong pangalan, bagamat alam mo na merong naunang gumamit.
I should correct myself there though. The papers have been filed. They just have not ruled on it yet. So we're waiting for that. But another question here is the social media accounts of Eat Bulaga. So who takes control of these? Elaine Fulgencio is here to give us the details. Go ahead, Elaine.
Regina, aside from the trademark itself, Tape Incorporated and TVJ are also engaging in a battle for Eat Bulaga's social media pages. Both sides are claiming property of the show's Facebook and YouTube channel. The Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, meanwhile, has refrained from making any statements regarding this matter, especially since the investigation is said to be ongoing. Once the tape's trademark registration expires on June 14, the IP tag of 4 is expected to turn into a free-for-all. Regina?
Thanks so much for the quick update, Elaine Fulgencio.
Right, may iba naman tayo. We did open the newscast with alert level 3 being raised over Mount Mayon. And again, another reminder of the dangerous beauty that volcanoes possess. Our big picture for tonight is Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupting again. Reports state that fissures have opened up at the base of the volcano's crater and that lava flows are contained within this area. Mount Kilauea is one of the world's most active volcanoes. Its last major eruption happened back in 2019, affecting hundreds of homes and businesses in Hawaii.
As I was saying, as we were arguing about earlier, whether
And
all
also,
these volcanoes are connected.
2 days in a row, our big picture has been of a volcano.
May pictures na rin ng Mayon. Maganda na rin yung itsura niya with the smoke.
Maganda.
Pero minsan parang di mo alam sabihin if it's beautiful because it's also dangerous. So
Of course.
a reminder for everyone.
Fine line.
Okay,
keep
we have to
safe.
stay
Yes.
safe.
All right, and that's it from the show tonight.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thank you for watching and good night.